Welcome to instructional design, instructional media design and production. Welcome, colleagues. Today, unfortunately, I wanted to have my presentation, PowerPoint presentation, but the presentation slides had a problem. So I had just to take what I found that is on this document, because maybe that's the only way I could do. I think last week there was something that was happening on Friday. We didn't meet. I wanted to arrange a makeup class, but I was too busy that I could not manage to arrange it. So I decided just have to do what I was supposed to do last week. I did with this weekend people. It's something to do with the communication theory and media design. I believe that we have knowledge about communication theory, right? I believe, but if you don't, maybe I can test you. Imagine I'm used to this PowerPoint slides. I was trying to push it as if it's a slide. What do you understand by communication theory? I know they was trying to talk about here. You have heard about communication theory, right? Or let me say, yeah, but let me put it in communication theory. Or sometimes when you say communication theory, it can sound awkward, but when we say communication, I believe that word is something that you can say something about, because you do it every day. Even right now, I'm doing it. You are doing it, right? So what is the concern about is here, as we talked about media, instructional media. When we say instructional media, as we already talked about, we said we're talking about these media items that are used for instructional purposes, right? In this process of teaching or giving instruction, so you have got some other items that you use, and you have got media items that you will use for instruction. So if you talk about communication theory, we are saying communication theory is just that, as you see here, let me see if they define it here. Communication theory complements learning theories in attempt to provide you a strong theoretical orientation. And the thing is, they are trying to say, if you're in the process of trying to design an instructional media, how can you utilize the concept of communication theory in that process? When you think about communication theory, it talks about the process of communication that we do, whereby the central figure, the central elements are the senses, right? Human senses are used and to facilitate the communication process, right? Yeah, welcome. I think it's the first time time to show up. Okay, but you've been following on the WhatsApp what has been happening, like the slides, to be able to know what we have done before. I believe so. Okay, a little bit. Yeah, if you did it, you need to check the slides, because those are the lessons that we did. So today we're just starting here. I say I wanted us to look into communication theory and the media design. So it's just to see how these two can be complementing each other in that process. Say as a basic consideration in the implementation of instruction, communication theory deserves closer attention. Um, the thing is, um, the reason, as I've talked about already, is we are thinking about communication, and now, if you're thinking about communication, the process of instruction is part of communication. So there's no way you can sideline an element of communication or the concept of communication theory, because communication theory concept usually, as you see here, it shows the human beings collect information through their senses, right? And that they use the senses, or they use them more. I mean, they use they can use more than one sense at a time. So there's an element of saying that, okay, we have in the communication theory there is an element of human senses. So what is it means when we are trying to design an instructional media, we should consider these elements of communication theory, which are the senses. And when you say the senses, we are talking about the sense of touch, sight, hearing, what? What else? Smell. What is the remaining? Because the touch, hearing, sight, smell. There should be some one. How many human senses do we have? 5. So where is one out of this? We have missed something. Or we think about ourselves. What do? We see. Then we touch. Then we can smell. Then we can hear. Can we say, we speak? Is it voice? Is it? I don't know. I'm maybe forgetting something that I didn't explain that we can forget. Huh? What's the fifth with the unbelievable? This is, I mean, scenario whereby somebody asks you a basic thing that you think you expect, I think you take it obvious that you know, and you discover that you have forgotten, right? Oh, the test, right? I think because we were thinking outside, that's the reason. What test is something inside, right? Yeah. So these senses, we need to keep them in mind to say, okay, when we are designing our instruction with the media, they should utilize one of these, because these they help to in communication. Because you say here, communication theory with regards to media design is concerned with how the different senses work with how they collect information, right? So the example here say visual, for instance, it's an aspect of light, right? It's like if you remove light, it means people can see not anything, cannot see anything, right? So if your instruction media is something that you expect people to see or learners to see, it means you should consider the sense of light of sight to see how you can control light. You know, if there's too much light, there's going to be a problem. Too little light, there's going to be a problem. Minimum light. So it means whatever instruction media you can use, if you know that it utilizes light, you should know which is a perfect level of light intensity, right? You need to know how to manipulate light intensity and all those. If you're talking about, like I say, what if you think about hearing, is something about sound. You need to know how to control the sound waves, and all other senses is also connected to that. So it's to do with the conditions, because we have to think about the conditions uh, that will make that environment suitable or conducive to that particular sense of communication, to say, okay, according to this environment, this I mean sense can work better, right? So in terms of the research, there's been so many researches. Like I think what we were talking about here has been aided by various research that has been conducted by different researchers to try to assist in the creation of instructional media that is usually the same basic instructional media, meaning you don't have to, it's not too complicated, right? But that is some of them, even a teacher could be able to create it on the a personal level. So one of an example of the basic media here that we can look into is graphic materials, right? So graphic materials are basic materials or basic instructional medias, which includes charts, graphs, and the elements along that. And if you think about graphic materials, I think we know what we have seen graphic materials before, right? When we say graphic materials, what are we talking about? What are we talking about for graphic materials? As example here, so to already give an example like drawing. So I think if you know you have done a little bit maybe designing, editing, or graphic design, you know that usually there are two basic types of graphics, right? You have got what is called vector graphics and raster graphic, which is the bitmap. So what we're talking about is what we see, or even what we are seeing here, like these characters, what we are seeing, like the characters that are forming words, is part of graphics. This is part of graphics, but now this is typography, right? So these graphics are vector graphics, that they use lines. So we have got graphics that they just use lines. You have got like this, like lines. So the lines are shaped into a certain thing. So that line is shaped to look like what you are saying. These are just lines. So you have got the graphics that use dots, like what you see on the, like a picture, photograph. Photograph is a bitmap or vector, or raster. Reason is it uses dots. How do you know it uses dots? You have done it before. Maybe you have a picture in your computer. Try to enlarge it. Kwa mbili. You see kuti basa gati madoto joje. Not clear kuti kwenu. When you reduce the size, it shows, it appears clear. When you enlarge it, it just shows like dots, right? So that's another, it's what is called one of the graphics. So usually graphics, we deal with these two. So that's what we're talking about here, just graphics. So any material, either they use lines like this, maybe the words, or their images, right? Those are graphic materials, right? So what we're talking about. Now, if you are dealing with the graphic materials, as already this is to do with the light, if it's a sense, this is to do with the sense of sight. It's light now, you have to deal with light. But now, there are specific, concerns that you need to keep in mind if you are using graphic materials. I mean, they say graphic materials could be taken as an instructional media or basic instructional media because they could be used easily changed or converted into formats, as you can see here, maybe into slides, into transparencies, or they can be used the way they are. So as long as they are used like that one, those are basic material. But now, you have to consider a number of aspects if you are dealing with this, apart from thinking about site. One of them are dimensions, right? Here, just to show dimensions. That usually graphic materials, when you say dimension, the size of a graphic material. If you have a picture that is too small, it would be a problem. Maybe the picture that is too big. So you need to know the specific dimension. Now, it's not just a specific dimension per se, it's specific dimensions for a particular medium. The same graphic material, if you show it on TV, there are specific measurements and even the sizes. So these are just some of the sizes that I'm trying to show, like the measurement to say if it's going to be on the slides standard, it should be like this. If it's going to be on the film, standard will be like this. But what we are talking about here is if you are trying to use these for, I mean, for instruction, you should keep in mind measurements that and the formats and the sizes specific for a medium, either for a film, if it's going to be over in transparency, if it's going to be on TV. So those are, they are specific. I think what you are saying here, what we are trying to adjust is the same thing, whereby we put the resolution in our games only you put it in. You have seen that whereby your screen ukanga chikudula. So kuti ifipage, you have to change my settings kuti ifite for the laptop. So that's what you're talking about. The same one, if you take it for maybe project, if you take the same one, some other, you have to change it. So it's a concern that you need to keep in mind if you're working with this one. For the dimensions is one of them, and also another consideration is if it's a graphic material, you need to think about simplicity, because you want to communicate using, let me say, it's like an image, a graphic. So it should not be a complicated graphic, because it can confuse the learners or whoever is being shown, right? So usually, if your idea is, say, okay, I want to use graphic material, make the graphic item as simple as possible. It's like your text, whereby you're making sure that the text, the fonts that you are selecting should be easy to read, right? So it's the same. If you can see it, the same material, I mean, information that we have for different books. You discover you have the same graphic in one book, it will be basic. The same one you find it for another book, complicated, right? So if you ask people, they'll tell you they understand. I think the best way would be when we were at the primary school, or even kindergarten, where we showed complicated graphics. We will be shown very basic graphics. They'll tell you a human being. They'll just show like a wireman. What we call wireman, just like a head, leg, just a human being. But the kids will understand that, oh, it's a human. But if you take this one for maybe elders, you have to make it a little bit detailed. But you know you are basing on who you are. I mean, you are dealing with. So big simplicity is one of them. Another one is the layout, which is another important. Okay, because the graphic material, as I'm saying, text like this one is one of the graphics. How we have alleged all these my materials, this is the layout. So I can put a layout that will show, will be easy, people will be easy to follow. If you put a certain layout that is complicated for people to follow, that can be a problem. So meaning you have to be considering, okay, you have got this material layout. Is it easy? Like a layout that is easily followed by whoever is being shown. So another one also is when you want to emphasize, or even maybe for the sake of just I mean, I just want to say it's simplicity. If it's a drawing, you usually it's required to say you make it bold, like it should be a drawing with bold lines, right? For simplicity's sake. And if you have a bold drawing, it means the elements are going to be easily seen. And also, it should be have labels, right? You have labels, and if if you place somewhere, they should have a caption, right? So and also there are ways, because if it's an image, you need to know how to emphasize the point. I think you see it in the books. You can emphasize the point by using color, right? You can emphasize the point by maybe sometimes you say maybe um, I don't know what, but you can decide to let me. But the color is one of the most effective, whereby you place specific color in some other areas, and people know that you are emphasizing something on those areas, right? For the graphic. And here is easy, which is here. I'm even forgetting about this letters, which is obvious, right? If you see a newspaper front page, how do you know that this is the? Why do you go to read the headline first? Because it has been emphasized, right? The headlines is big letters, bold, right? So that's another emphasis. You are using graphic, but now you are using the size of the graphic and making it bold. You are emphasizing a point. So you can use letters to emphasize. You can use color to emphasize uh, the even if it's if the graphic itself. Maybe it's just an emphasis of a point. So that's why you have placed it there. So that's something to do with the graphics, and you have what I call it transparencies, which also graphics could be used, could be turned into transparencies, right? But transparencies uh, could be one, and usually what we are talking about here, you see that we are usually talking about these uh, graphics that utilize the sense of sight, right? You think about graphics, I mean transparencies, television, it's all about light and sight. So transparencies usually, I mean, they could be direct reproduced. You know, transparencies, I think we talk about them, you have seen them before. Those it's transparent, you have seen those papers, plastic papers that they look like transparent papers, eh? They look like windows like that one, but they're papers. And they use maybe pencil marker to write something. Then you have something like a photocopier, they'll take that, they'll put it there. You will have something like this, it will show like a projector somewhere. And most of the churches, I think we've seen them when we are doing singing choruses in the Sunday morning, whereby someone will be putting transparencies on the like projector, will be seeing the lyrics of the songs somewhere else in some of the churches. So it's easily you can manipulate it easily because it's like it's basic. Especially people can use pencil markers to write or something. So usually transparency, let's say, hey, you have to also to think about, okay, what do you want to show? Like here, say you start with an idea, then a problem or identifying a need of the lesson, and then you take that idea, put it on the transparency, then it will serve that purpose, right? So this is one of them. But this particular element, I think we know there's that consideration of sense of light, because it's like the same site. It's like the way we are doing here. Fairly, we have got a little bit darkness in this room. That's why we are seeing. But I didn't mean that I mean, if you can take the same and go outside there and superimpose it on the wall, we will see nothing, right? So it's all about controlling the light. The better you control the light, the better. And then you have television. Usually, you could just say video, because most of the instructors, they use video recording, right? The best would be, I know, I don't like when I say YouTube videos. There's a lot of YouTube videos nowadays whereby someone will just sit in front of a board and will be speaking. I don't know somebody studied it, especially when it comes to mathematics. So it is becoming a trend. The only problem is they are forgetting now the idea of television, right? Because in the television there was supposed to be a lot of demonstration, right? I know you see mathematics is the problem. You can't say that you can demonstrate solving an equation. You physically, it can't happen. Yeah, but instructional material whereby you find they will have a video, a demonstration video, right? To show people or maybe students how to do something, right? So you can have, I think nowadays there are portable batteries available that you can take it to remote areas, right? According to the video, they say that these video recordings are best if they are used, like say this statement, if they are used, if the recording, I think, was done in mind with how the learners will view that particular material. Because sometimes someone will decide to say, okay, I want to use a video for instruction, without thinking of to say, okay, you shoot the way you are shooting, but you are not thinking, okay, how are the viewers going to view this? Because the video is different from radio, right? Radio, you are restricted. Radio, you are limited to what you are hearing on radio, right? TV, if you show anything, you can't say that my eyes should just see this person. Well, there are people moving around. So you can't say, I will not look at those people around, I will just look at him. Can that happen? You see, if you look at the person, somebody behind do something, you go to start focusing on that person. That's why I say, when you are having this as a distraction, don't just shoot. I mean, even in use bulletin, you use reporting, it has also happened before. If in the news, they say, when you are doing your production outside in the remote areas, background is important. Don't ignore the background. We have seen before videos whereby somebody is reporting, someone was behind, was doing gestures, and people were busy looking at that person. There's some other videos whereby somebody fell into the river, I think the ocean behind. While this person was reporting, somebody was doing something, then people saw he fell. So it means that these people, they didn't regard that, okay, and how are they going to look at it? But what we are talking about is, if it's video, there is a deliberate, you have to have that video whereby it's deliberately short, like you make use of the basic shots, camera shots, right? In video production, The very basic camera shots, as we know, you have got the long shot, right? The LS, the medium shot, MS, the close-up. These shots are there for a reason, right? You want to emphasize on something is a close-up, right? Meaning you want to show good somebody was emotionally attached, or is about to cry. You can't just show from afar. People cannot see good mutu. You show closer on the eyes, right? You want to show what is happening in an area, establishing shot or something. You start with the long shot whereby you will show something big. Medium shot, you're focusing on Antoine Ike. Long shot, I mean, so these are shots that when you are doing your instruction, you need to consider the kind of shots you are using. Because those kinds of shots will be telling the viewers what to focus on. If you show something unnecessary, they're going to be focusing on that. Because sometimes I think you see like these wedding videos whereby, they just shoot random things, right? They will shoot asuta zoom in, all of a sudden asa kuiba majitu chake. So when you pause on something, people will be looking at it and wondering, what is there? So you can't just focus on something that is useless. So it means these are the elements that are needed to be considered especially when you are using this video. And also, let's see here. Okay, I think these are the things, the elements. I mean, one of the most important aspects of using the video. This is not apart. I think this is what to keep in mind. Apart from the shots, if you know video production, lighting, lighting. That's why I say sense of this is sight. Anything that is to do with sense of sight, light, and we're talking about the light intensity, right? Light intensity, the amount of light that is being shown or maybe be let out on something, right? So that's important. Then apart from that, we have some environmental factors now in media use. All those what we already talked about, we might have specific environmental factors. If you think about any situation, right? If it's to do with sense of sight, if it's sense of hearing, but if there is a person, you decide on a location to say, okay, these people are going to be in this place, right? So you can't ignore the environment, right? So the media, especially electronic media, and which is important. What do you think about electronic media? Some other types of media might maybe escape issues to do with the maybe environmental factors. But now, when it's electronic media, useful. I mean, very useful in supporting instruction. They are effective only under specific conditions or environment. And these conditions, if they are absent, right, it will be a distraction, right? So the environment, major environment factor that we can look here, you talk about there's the lighting here, there's acoustics, and then there's the thermal environment, right? So as you see, all the examples we have looked at, they were to do with lighting, right? And if you think about lighting, there are two properties that are usually needed to be focused on, right? The quantity and the quality, right? Usually, let's say the intensity, right? But say quality and quantity, that they got to be light, but what type of light do you have, right? So If you think about, let's say lighting is critical in instructional spaces generally, and especially when the media are used, because most media provide the visual stimulus for identifying information, and you can think about even the simple basic instruction material like a chalkboard, right? In a classroom like this. If you can have, even the way it is, if you can decide to write on the board with a little bit darkness, you discover that most of the people maybe from the back will not go to be able to see what I'm writing, right? I'm writing because of the environment. There's darkness in the room, right? So I mean, if it's too much again, it will be the same environment, where distraction, right? And this, when you think about light, in terms of the instruction, they do have different levels of light that are required for different types of instruction, media instructional materials. Some will need more light, some will not need more light, right? For example, we talk about the overhead transparencies, we talk about the television, if you talk about other, but you see that you should be able to know that some they will need more light, some they will not need more light. So you don't just like assume that everything is okay, it's the same, right? So we have seen it before. I remember that we have used before projectors whereby we could not see what was shown because of lighting, right? Whereby the lecturer was seeing himself, but we could not see also anywhere. It's the same thing whereby just assuming that people are saying, right? So, what else? Okay, let's just go to the right. So I think here I'm not going to spend much more time here on the light, but just basically, um, and you go here. I think you are trying to see that whereby you find different types of lights, right? Whereby if you check, there's the fluorescent light. I think there's also what is called tungsten light. But all these variety of lights will just be suitable for a specific condition, right? According to the environment that you want, one of them will fit, the other will not fit. So you can appreciate that. So on the light, is that you have to make sure that what we are saying is you want to deliver your instruction and you are in a room and you don't consider light, you will have a problem. So you think about the light. Is the room well lit? Okay, it's well lit. You are done. Next, acoustics. So light is to do with the sense of sight, right? Acoustics is to do with the sense of hearing, right? This is to do with the way my voice, when you hear my voice, it sounds like it's bouncing on the walls, right? The reason why my voice is the way it's sounding now is because this room doesn't have proper acoustics. If we can have those ceilings on the wall like these ones, have them on the whole walls, and you should put holes in them because the sound will bounce because there's a hard surface, right? So this wall is a hard surface. So what's happening? The voice is bouncing. So this can be a distraction. If somebody is speaking, you sound some are irritated by the way it sounds. So in the studios, you have seen it in the studio, but about that, as if it's decoration. It's not decoration. That's for acoustics. When they speak the voice, when they say there should not be these echoes, should not be right. So The acoustics is the auditory is just as important as the visual, right? A distraction of the material are usually accompanied by an audio component as an audio track or the teacher's voice, right? So even nowadays we even have books with embedded voice in them. I think you have seen them before, PDFs, right? Even like German, learn this. You find that there's plus audio, right? So even the audio is not audible, it can be a problem, right? So if you are recording an instructional material or audio for instruction, you should avoid this type of sound. Make sure the acoustics are taken care of. You talking about see here, the acoustics is also concerned with how the environment is prepared. It's all about the environment. For instance, sound bounces off the hardy surfaces, right? So could result in echo. And the sound absorption materials are used to reduce echo and therefore enhance the quality of sound. If you see even in the sitting room, if you go sitting room, it doesn't sound like this. And sometimes you wonder why in the sitting room, it's because of those chairs, cushions, all those things. They are sound absorbent materials, right? So you need to make sure that, okay, I'm recording, I should have sound absorbent materials so that the voice should be clear, not bounce on something. And also, you think about even the speakers. You might be using speakers, the way the speakers have been placed, where, you need to observe, okay, the sound, is it going to be coming okay, right? Because it could be, because, I have also a problem again, of maybe it's because of where you have placed it, where it's facing. Yeah, but it's to bottom line is you make sure that the audio is not distracted. Then we have got thermal, right? Thermal now we should be the sense. What can we say that? It's like we talked about the sense of touch. Can we say this is sense of touch? What do you feel with your body? What is that? Well, this is to do with the heat or being cold, right? So I don't know what sense is we can associate with that with. Huh? That will be, I think it's to the element of touch, eh? Yeah, because it's like when you say you're feeling cold. Do you feel cold in your heart? You feel cold in your body, right? So this body is the one that it touches, right? So what has happened is like that specific heat has touched your body. It's a sense of touch. Cold, so it's linked with that, right? So this is another element that if you're not sure, it will be distraction. I've said it before. Everything is okay, video is okay, you have done everything okay, but now the room where you are is too hot. If it's too hot, you can even see the people not concentrating, right? They could start sleeping or dozing. Eh? If it's too cold, you can even also see that people are going to be worried about the good situation. Now they'll be thinking about it. Had it been I was home in my blankets. Eh? That's what people are going to be thinking about. Eh? Because they are not comfortable. Eh? So it's something that cannot be overlooked. Yeah, because what you're trying to do, you have got your instructional material, you want to maximize that, okay, you have looked at the material itself. Now, you have discovered that it's not only up to the material itself for effective delivery. Also, the environment matters, right? So you are dealing with the environment. So you have done with the sound, you have ensured that the walls are well treated to avoid acoustic problems, and you have done with something issues to do with lighting. You have controlled the lighting. You see that, oh, we need to have darkness in this room. You have switched off the lights for the projector. Now you forget about the actual temperature of the room, right? That there could be a problem with that. So that's what we talked about here, whereby say, according to heat and cold affects the concentration in the learning environment, right? Um, and you have to prepare to plan well if you like to achieve what you are supposed to achieve. Make sure that you have planned how, I mean, you are going to deal with the situation. Like you could even check if it's up to do with the weather, to say, okay, did you go through the Met report? How is the weather is going to be today? Maybe it's going to be cold in the afternoon. So you need to look about that. Okay, if it's going to be cold, I'm going to do like this. But according to the studies, you have to do that. Now, most of the times, some of the people think like, oh, it's going to be hot, maybe because of outside. Sometimes it's not all about just because it's hot outside. It could be because of ventilation, right? Because that's one of the things. You are in a room that is, it doesn't have, it's not well ventilated. Even if it's cold outside, eh, it's going to be becoming hotter and hotter inside, right? Because the air can't go out. So you make sure that the ventilation is okay. If there's an air conditioner, use the air conditioner. And even the air con, I've seen that I've seen some other places like in banks, some other banks, because when you say air con, does not mean that the room should be cold. That's the thing. I've seen some other banks where you go, they literally put the air con at the level where it's cold. And if you say, air con is supposed to be room temperature, it's not supposed to be feeling, supposed not to feel hot, the heat or cold. But I remember there was one of the bank whereby we have to be in line and the air con was here. So you could even literally see when I'm approaching here, this area is very cold. Then I have to be in line here. So we have to move here and stand here for a while, right? So it's something that is also needed to be checked. Um, and also these thermal conditions is not only bad for the students or learners, is also bad for the equipment, because there's some other equipment with a specific type of maybe heat, they could get damaged, right? But again, I got the very sensitive materials that if the room is too hot, I remember even with some of these films, you find them that they were melting, right? And so materials with equipment could also get affected if you're not careful about the thermal conditions. Right. Another one is, which is an obvious element, but you understand why we have this type of tables in a classroom like this, right? Although somebody was saying that, is it a coincidence that the setup of the hospital, but maybe they still say hospital, because sometimes most of the hospital are whatever, but let me say the setup of school in terms of the city and the prisons, they are the same. Like it's like a school, they are treating you, it's like another prison, but you don't know. That's what they say. But I know the reason is the concentration, right? If you are in a classroom like this, uh, with a sofa, chairs, can you concentrate? So sitting Research has indicated that the importance of sitting to learning, and he has specified how houses should be constructed, right? Because of that. So there are specific areas. Okay, you could have a chair. Normally, the tables, according to recommendations, were not supposed to be like this. They were supposed to be like those puppets we see in church. Because here talk about 45 degrees, right? They should be, they say that uh, like I want to see here, the seats should be back eight seats. Okay, the way they are with the back. That we got there's a back there, and the but straight backs, whereby it's straight like this, 45 degrees like angle, and surface of writing tables need to be slanted at 45 degrees, right, for comfortable writing, right? So usually there was something supposed to have this one a little bit slanted because the way we do table got it down there, it's a little problem. But why do you see my podiums are president color church color like this? That's what is being called recommended. Right, so that's that. Uh, uh, with that, any question up to that stage? Because this is what I wanted to talk about. This other part is just an addition, but these are some of the. But I'm saying that these are not limited. You could even think about the other related element, but these are one of the most the environmental effects or aspects that we're going to think about, and also get to know that the instructional media material is not all about instructional materials themselves alone. You also have to consider all these conditions and then also the human senses, how they connect with them. I wanted to go another part. What's the time? Okay. We still have a few time, but I didn't want. I think the other part we're going to do it later. I can just start with the place. I mean, what I wanted, but still, well, the other part was this to do with it's another area completely because of teaching. So modes of teaching usually there are a number of them, three of them, right? As you can see, learning through tutorials, teaching, and the individual self-instruction. Yeah, but that I wanted is to do that later on. But in the meantime, uh, any questions maybe from the previous ones? This was going to be obvious that we can even guess because it's like what we've been saying is if you know that a particular instruction is to be used for teaching, it should be designed in a certain way. Teaching live, like a lecture. If it's going to be for self-taught, it should also have to be designed in a certain way. If it's going to be on the other way, it's another. I mean, if it's going to be like in another, it says again, right? From Things that we did last time. What did we were you doing? I wanted us just maybe to reflect on that. But so I wanted to do it afterwards. What we did previously. What were we doing that time? Um, Theories, eh? Learning theories. I think we did it, the domains. Did we do it with you? The domains, the psychomotor, all those, eh? Ready? Like the domains whereby they'll talk about, we were talking about the three of them, domains of, yeah, because those are, I don't know if I finished at the end. It was, I think I was left with the psychomotor part, but we did look at the domains of teaching. I mean, then what else did I think those are I'm just trying to link it because there's the same material that I do with you is I also do with the weekend guys. Yeah, so I know that I remember the weekend guy I did that, which automatically because we missed one class. That's what I remember. I don't know if you missed two, but I'm remembering one. Maybe you missed two. Chifani mwana imagine mapa this mwana manga ni bali imos. Okay, I think in the meantime you can also do that. But you have to. I remember I shared the material. You can go through those if you didn't go. Those domains is something that you need to keep in mind to be so sure that I mean, if somebody can ask you, you should be learning, even learning theories. Uh, just check it out. If you have anything, yeah. To try see if I put it here. This should be the first one. I don't think it's okay. Nah, this is at the beginning. The first one. But this is not what I wanted. It was the introduction. But I believe I shared this one. Huh? Do I have it in here? This one. Huh? Right. But so far, for what we've done today, any question? I think I was saying this one. So look at it there. I don't got it here. I don't think that I can have it. Maybe this one. Two. Yeah. Remember, we've done this. We've done the this one. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Learning theories, behaviorism theories. We have done this.